Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Red Devils TV. So we've received massive news today, should I say, about the takeover and about Manchester United. But it's absolutely crazy news, is all I've got to say, because it's news I didn't expect to hear. And I'm sorry that the show is this late this evening. I had a video planned, and that video has completely been blown out of the water because we're going to have to discuss this news. Now, it all started with Rio Ferdinand, ex-Manchester United player, a legend of Manchester United almost, talking about how the takeover is almost complete and the Manchester sale is now imminent and Qatar are going to be the winners. So, obviously, with Rio saying that, that's always going to cause massive drama and massive news throughout the entirety of the United fan base. But as I've titled the thumbnail, "Deal or No Deal," I feel like Noel Edmonds is in charge of this, because if it just feels at some point we're going to open a big red box, we're going to see the price, and that's going to be the end of it. But at the end of the day, I just hope that the takeover is over. It is over soon because it's dragged on way too long, in my opinion. And for me as well, I just personally want it to be over. And if you are a fan of the channel, you will also realise that with the channel, I have mentioned many times that I'm not pro Qatar and I'm not pro Sir Jim Ratcliffe. All I want is 100% of the ownership to be bought. And as we've noticed, Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants about 51%, and the Qataris want the full 100%. And as we know, the Qataris want the 100%, so that's why I've always favoured the Qataris. Anyway, Solo, big up, bro. Thank you for being in the comments, mates. And Moise Inacho saying, "Hi, Dan. Hiya, how you doing, pal? Make sure you put your comments in the comments down below. Any questions you have, let me know, and I'll answer every single one of them." But anyway, we're going to get right into it because there's so much to talk about. And it's absolutely crazy. Obviously, we've only got 4 topics to talk about this evening. But at the end of the day, it's absolutely bonkers of how much the entirety of Twitter has been disturbed. Everything's trending to do with Manchester United is absolutely mental. And anyway, I've got the most important tweets here. I've bookmarked them all. So let's just get right onto it. So with this one, it's the first one is that shots fired by again is facial Islam is going against Simon Stone, and he turns around and says this, that Runters have not claimed that the Qataris have got the exclusivity. They have said they are close to exclusivity. I can't say that word. So essentially, your Simon Stone sources have denied something that just hadn't been claimed by Runters, and the Runters are the ones that broke this breaking news today. And it says, "So what you got, Simon, is what I could call a denial." So Fringer, he's kind of called Simon Stone out there, which is quite something we don't see in the English media. And Moise says that, "What are they saying about Mason Greenwood and Amad Diallo?" So, to my knowledge, is that Mason Greenwood and Amad Diallo are supposed to be going on loan next season. Mason Greenwood's situation is a complete different one to Amad Diallo. But last night, I believe I saw it on the United Plug, a Twitter account, which has over 500,000 followers. And they turned around and said that Amad Diallo is a very promising player for Manchester United. But at the end of the day, what's happening is that Eric Ten Hag, depending on the transfer window, Amad Diallo might be getting put on loan to another English Premier League club to see what will happen with his progression, because they don't think that playing at Old Trafford, playing from Sunderland in the Championship to stepping up to Manchester United, is too much of a jump. So that's why they're thinking of loaning out Amad Diallo. And with the Mason Greenwood situation, it's well known that Mason Greenwood is supposed to be going out on loan next season, which is the right move in my opinion. And there's not talks that United are going to keep him or not. But Mason Greenwood's contract does run out in 2024 in June. So what's the talk is that are Man United just going to loan him out until he becomes a free transfer, or are they going to loan him out so he can improve on his football and then become a starter for Manchester United? So good question. Thank you for having that. And Moy saying, are we still going ahead with Kim Min-jae and Rasmus Højlund? Now, with Kim Min-jae, that was a topic, so we might as well get onto it now. I do want to talk about the Qataris in a minute. But with Kim Min-jae, he does turn around, there has been turned around, and news has said that Bayern Munich are now in for Kim Min-jae, which is a massive upset really, because Bayern Munich, they're always a pain in the ass. They always come sniffing around and they always seem to get the players that they want. And they've recently just sold, I think it's Lucas Hernandez. So they're in need for another centre back, and definitely Kim Min Jae fits their profile. And with Rasmus Højlund, I'm not too sure. I've not really heard much. All I've heard is that United still haven't made an official bid for Rasmus Højlund, as Mason Mount is apparently the first player Erik ten Hag does want to sign. But Rasmus Højlund is still on Erik ten Hag's shortlist, still on Manchester United's shortlist. And just with the budget being 100 to 150 million, it's kind of hard to negotiate these deals because these players are going to cost us so much money. Chelsea aren't shifting for about 70 million for Mason Mount, and Rasmus Højlund is going to cost almost 50 to 60 million. So it's kind of, which one do you prioritise? I would personally prioritise Rasmus Højlund, as we do need an out-and-out striker, and Højlund is a very promising striker. So anyway, thank you for your questions, pal. And Simon turns around and says that, "Evening, Dan. Nice to have you in the stream as always, pal." So anyway, we'll get into the Qatari news, and it turns around and says that the Qatar update. So obviously, recently we've had the reports, obviously today, that the Runters, who is a massive source, and they have turned around and said they're very well connected with merchants and acquisitions reports from New York. Now, the New York Stock Exchange has drastically increased today. I believe it was on $23.60 something cents, and then it skyrocketed up to $26, and I think it was $26.23 or something it was. And it's been well known that if the New York Stock Exchange for Manchester United goes up to $30 per share, then the club will be sold. That's what's happening here. So over the last week, the shares have increased from about $20 to $19 to now standard $26, which is what it peaked today, and it now has dropped down to 24, but it's starting slowly to increase and get bigger and bigger. So hopefully we are getting the deal done soon. The takeover is very much imminent, as Rio Ferdinand said. Simon turns around and says that most definitely, but I feel at least United have been active earlier this transfer window, which can only be a positive. I'd say so, yes. We are linked to players, and I do feel like Erik ten Hag is actually being one of them players. Erik ten Hag is one of them managers that is very methodical, very stern. It's his way or no way, and he's given the people his list of players that he wants. Obviously, we've got Diogo Costa, the goalkeeper, Onana, the goalkeeper, Kim Min Jae, Timber, Højlund, Osimhen, Mason Mount, Rabiot. We're linked to so many players recently. And Erik ten Hag wants these players. It's just down to the budget. So realistically, I feel like United will make a signing at some point, probably in the next 2 weeks, is my opinion. And that's because I feel like that's with the takeover getting closer and closer and closer. I feel like that the Qataris will then end up having a say, which will then indicate saying, right, I'm giving you the green light. Erik ten Hag wants that player, so let's go out and sign that player, which I think is a really smart way of doing business this summer. And Moyes also says that I was sad when I saw that Bayern news are after me. I'm gonna guess that you're not Kim Min Jae, but with yes, Kim Min Jae, it is very disappointing. But with obviously Bayern Munich, they are one of them teams that do come sniffing around for very world class players. And Moyes Iheanacho, if you are one of them players, hopefully you get signed up, because I personally feel like that I could get signed by Bayern Munich tomorrow as probably one of the janitors for cleaning the toilets, and I'd still win a trophy there. I'd still win a trophy before Spurs. That's the case. And Simon also turns around and says that, wow, I did not know that. Put your hands on your head. Sorry, elbow cough. I don't know what that means. And Moyes also says that, but why sign Mason Mount when there's a player like Nico Barella? This is a perfect comment. Now, I wanted to get on and mention about Nicola Barella because Newcastle's owners have been told that they only got a £75 million transfer budget for this summer. Now, obviously, that's including plus player sales, which is obviously quite a lot if Newcastle do end up selling players. But Nicola Barella is a world-class player who went to a Champions League final and was actually played really well in that final. And Newcastle line up a deal for £50 million. So why are Manchester United going for someone like Mason Mount, who's been out of form all season and ridiculed with injuries, for £70 million? And then Newcastle, our top four rivals almost, are going out and signing a world-class player like Nicolo Barella for 20 million less, which is absolutely insane. And for me, Nicolo Barella, that'll be an amazing piece of transfer business for Newcastle. So I definitely understand this comment that why aren't United going for players like this? I don't know whether Erik ten Hag wants this kind of player, but if he's going for a Mason Mount, then Nicolo Barella for me is just as good as Mason Mount. I think he might be even a bit better and is a lot more prolific in my opinion. So anyway, going back to the Qataris, and the Rain Group are getting both bidders into a situation so advanced where's it gone? Where they should be chosen. The transition will be smooth as possible. That's from Mike Keegan. So what's that is pretty much saying is that both bidders for the Qataris and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, they're being negotiated together, and then the Glazers are going to pick who they prefer, which is probably going to be the Qataris as they have offered the most money, which is what I want because first of all, the Qataris are going to invest massively into Manchester United, and you'll see the progress happen a lot quicker under the Qataris. And second of all, they want the full ownership, and that's what I want from a fan. And I've always said that I don't care whether it's Sir Jim Ratcliffe or the Qataris. I just want 100% of the club sold. And with the Qataris saying that they're the one that want the 100%, that's why I've always favoured the Qataris. And then learning more about the Qataris, they've turned around and said that they're going to do this. They're going to clear the debt. They're going to invest in the infrastructure. They're going to invest in the training facilities, youth teams, women's teams, the stadium. They've been so open about their plans. Now, yes, their plans has a few holes in it, as does Sir Jim Ratcliffe's. But for me, the Qataris' vision is a lot more clearer than what Sir Jim Ratcliffe's is. So, obviously, reading out a few more quotes. And it says that this is from the first Islam and BBC Sport. It says, it seems the Glazers are taking Qataris saying this is the final bid seriously. So it kind of feels like what's happening now is that the Glazers have pushed and tried to get the bid as high as possible. It's happened after 5 rounds of bidding. They've got it up to £5 billion. And then what's happened all of a sudden, the Qataris have come out of nowhere, slammed it on the table for a reported 6.2 billion, which is supposed to be around $7 billion, which is absolutely mental. So however much the Qataris have put down, it's definitely blown Sir Jim Ratcliffe's out of the window. And that's probably why we're hearing this news today, that the Qataris are now being the favoured bidder. Simon says that, I couldn't agree more as a Blue. I can still understand your frustration, uncertainty, the second human need. Ten Hag is a quality manager, but until there's certainty, it's all up in the air. I completely agree with that. And he also says milking it. I'm guessing he's talking about the Glazers. So with all these quotes that are coming in, though, is that we had big news today that the Qataris have registered a company in the UK. Now, it's called 92 Tradings UK Limited. So the application that has come out today was not filled in months ago. It was received for electronic filling today, which normally takes a few hours. The LLC parent company was only created in late April. So the Qataris, or Sheikh Jassim, who has now created a new business for the UK, that's definitely going to be the business that's going to be run through Manchester United. So I think that's how it's going to be. But with Ineos, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, that brings me on to my next topic. That is Sir Jim Ratcliffe out of the race? Now, only time will tell, in my opinion, but I personally think it is. I feel like Sir Jim Ratcliffe, probably around the 4th or 5th round of bidding, he did his best offer. He's put out as much money as he can. He's took out so many loans. He's gathered so much investment. And what's happened is that he's been absolutely blown out of the water with this new Qatar deal. Moyes says that, I still think Man United shouldn't sell Anthony Martial. He's brilliant. I think he's going to work well with Rasmus Højlund. Now, I agree with this, but I do think Anthony Martial does need to go. I've never doubted that Anthony Martial isn't a brilliant player, because he is. He's just built like a poppadom. He breaks so easily. Like, he literally has the durability of a poppadom catching a bowling ball. He will shatter. And it's unfortunate because Anthony Martial has so much quality, so much potential. He's been absolutely ridiculed with injuries, and it's such a disappointing way to see such a talented player go to waste. But that's not Anthony Martial's fault. Maybe he could have better players around him, because Erling Haaland was injury prone at Salzburg and Dortmund, and he goes to Man City. He's not had one injury all season, and because Pep Guardiola has kept him under the spotlight, they made sure that he's constantly having constant medical checks and making sure that he's fighting fit, and that's why Erling Haaland's played pretty much every game for Man City. So Anthony Martial could have that treatment, but is that just is a ship sailed now? Because Martial's been here for what, 7-8 years? He's been here for absolutely ages, and I personally feel like, for me, he's not actually shown he's worth 50 million over them 8 seasons, in my opinion. Maybe for 1 or 2 seasons, but he has been very inconsistent when it comes to injuries. So I do like that comment, though, so thank you for that. But Rasmus Højlund, for me, just to answer your comment, is an absolute must sign that we need to make. Simon saying that, nice, Dan. I just found out this as well, saying that I feel he is. So as well, so with this, obviously, with the 9 to trade in UK, it's kind of all up in the air about everything with the Qataris, but it is looking strong. And like I was saying, is Sergeant Ratcliffe out the race? For me, I think it is, because he's offered the best he can. He's tried keeping the Glazers along with the 20% keeping, and then eventually be able to buy them out in the future. Luca, AFC, Arsenal fan, saying, hey, saying, you okay? I'm more than okay, mate, thank you. Obviously, I'm hearing good news that my club might be getting bought today, so or in the next week, so I'm absolutely ecstatic. Any news about Arsenal, mate? Obviously, just let us know, because obviously we do see each other as rivals, and no doubt both of our teams will be going for top 4 next season. But anyway, on to the United stand. Ben Jacobs, who's a very well credible journalist, says sources close to the process don't see the sale happening this week. Now, don't forget, it is Thursday, so obviously there's only 3 days left of the week. So realistically, that's not ruling out a week's time. That's just ruling out the next 3 days of this week. So it definitely could happen Monday. It could definitely happen next Sunday. We're not too sure. But with this much positive news going around, I personally feel like Sergeant Ratcliffe actually might get scared out of the bidding war, and will actually allow Sheikh Jassim to just clean up and buy the club for how much he needs to. And then also, the United stand, it says that everything is entering the final stages. Sergeant Ratcliffe's side believe it will be done in 1 or 2 weeks. Sheikh Jassim's side are a little bit more coy, and that's from Ben Jacobs as well. So it's kind of going back to that comment where the Glazers are keeping both bidders in the conversation almost. And it's kind of, the way it's being described is that the Qataris have come on, and in their 89th minute, they've made it 3-2 to win the game. And that's the way it seems that it is going ahead. And the Qataris are not miles ahead of Sergeant Ratcliffe, but they are ahead in the journalist eyes and the fans' eyes. Obviously, the only eyes that it's not in is the Glazers. So I am looking forward to seeing what actually happens with it all. Simon turns around and says that, I bet you hope Sergeant Ratcliffe is out of the race. I do hope, because not that I don't want Sergeant Ratcliffe, it's the fact that he doesn't want 100% of the club. And that's why I want Sergeant Ratcliffe out of the race, because one, he's keeping the Glazers in power with 20%, and he doesn't want to buy the full ownership of the club. And I feel like that if he was that terrified of losing out to the Qataris, he probably would have tried bidding for 100%. But if he's going for 100% like the Qataris are, he's not gonna win it. So Sergeant Ratcliffe had to think smart and had to realise that, okay, I'm not going to beat him with pure money. So maybe with Man United constantly increasing in value, if I offer the Glazers a 3-year deal and then I buy them out in 3 years, they might earn more money for the shares that they've holded, which is probably the best way of Sergeant Ratcliffe kind of staying in this race. Simon also saying, clean slate, the broom must be swept clean. I completely agree with this, and United need a new start, and that's exactly what I want to say, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. But anyway, moving on with the comments, and obviously we've just discussed Kim Min Jae, But I'm just going to quickly try and find these. Where's it gone? Man United fixtures 23 to 24 season. So today we got released the fixtures for United's 23 to 24 season, which is for me absolutely brilliant. Here it is. I found it here. So I'm going to quickly run through all the fixtures that United have been released. This is for the Premier League only. Domestic cups haven't been released yet, and nor has the Champions League. So, Man United's first game of the season, of the new season, will be against Wolves at home, and that's on August 14th. Then we play Tottenham away. Then we've got Nottingham Forest at home. September, we go against Arsenal away, Brighton at home, Burnley away, Crystal Palace at home. Then we move to October, and it's Brentford, Sheffield United, and Man City. So that's definitely a team. That's definitely a game to watch out for. That is at home on the 28th of October. So Man City versus United. That's the Manchester derby. And then November goes to Fulham, Luton at home. It's Fulham away, Luton at home, and Everton away. December is a very big month for Manchester United, and that's going to consist of Newcastle away, Chelsea at home, Bournemouth at home, Liverpool away, West Ham away, Newcastle, Aston Villa at home, and Nottingham Forest away. That is a massive month. That is 7 games of the Premier League. Now, obviously, the Champions League would have ended by then, and the group stage would have ended. So I think it'll be around the January time or February time that the Champions League starts again. So obviously, getting all them games in for December will be important. But no doubt these games will be rescheduled at some point because of domestic competitions like the Carabao Cup, FA Cup, etc. And also with the Champions League if United progress throughout the season and get into the knockout stages. Knockout stages. And then January consists of Tottenham away and Wolves away. February then goes to West Ham at home, Aston Villa away, Luton away, Fulham at home. And then March 2024, City away, Everton at home, Sheffield United at home, Brentford away. April is Chelsea away, Liverpool at home, Bournemouth away, Newcastle United at home, Burnley at home. And then the final 3 games of the season in May is going to be Crystal Palace away, Arsenal at home, and Brighton away. So with all them fixtures, I personally feel like that our first 4 games are killer. Wolves, I think we can get through, and I feel like because they just aren't a very good team, and especially with them losing players. But again, hardly any teams have been making any transfer business yet, so it really depends on where the teams are after the transfer window is done almost. But yeah, with Wolves, Tottenham away, Nottingham Forest at home, and Arsenal away. They're going to be 4 tough games. And right now on the current squad, and what the current other teams have got, if we could get 10 points from that, I'd say that's probably a good game because we'll definitely drop points to either Tottenham or Arsenal. Nottingham Forest and Wolves, I'm not worried about. But taking as many points as possible is what's the most important thing here. Simon turns around and says, it's going to be very interesting. I feel December has always been a significant period throughout all seasons. That's very true. And obviously, Boxing Day, United are against Aston Villa as well. So obviously, Christmas time is where it does get tricky. I mean, on the 23rd of December, we're against West Ham. On the 26th of December, we're against Aston Villa. On the 30th of December, we're against Nottingham Forest. So that's going back to 3 games in 7 days. That is absolutely mental. And obviously, it won't have the same significance as what the World Cup had on our players this season. But 7 Premier League games in December is going to take its toll on these players. And it's the same with the start of December as well. 2nd is Newcastle, the 6th is Chelsea, and the 9th is Bournemouth. It's quite tough, to be honest. And I'm not looking forward to that month, to be honest. But that's many months away, and I'm still looking forward to the start of this season. Moyes says that, how many points do you think we are getting from our first 5 games? So let's look at our first 5 games. We've got Wolves. I think that's a 3 points. Tottenham, I'd say it depends how this new manager plays under Tottenham, but I would say 3 points. We have done well against Spurs the most previous season. Nottingham Forest at home, I do think we'll win that. I am confident with that. Arsenal, I do think will be a draw. And then Brighton as well at home. That's going to be a very tough game as well. I would have to say probably a draw for Brighton as well. So if we can get from our first 15 points, if we can get 11 points, I personally think that'd be brilliant. And obviously it is points dropped, but I'm not expecting United to challenge for the league. I'm not expecting, with the current squad we haven't got any investment yet. If the Qatar is coming, that's a completely different story because United will probably be getting so many different players that Eric Ten Hag wants to upgrade the squad. But apart from all that, that's pretty much what the most breaking news is. So I want to say, everyone, thank you for watching. Thank you, Simon and Moyes, for your comments. I really appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like on the stream. And just to let you know as well, that today's video was supposed to be about prospect youth players that we could potentially see next season. So stay tuned for that. That is going to be a normal video. So that is going to go out in the morning. Simon just this last comment of the stream saying December is when a shape of league is truly formed. I feel United will start strong, but from there, who knows? Exactly. It's going to be very difficult to predict this season. So yes, thank you everyone for watching. Stay tuned for tomorrow morning where I'm going to be posting a video about the prospect youth players, about top 3 or top 5 youth players that United need to look out for next season, because obviously with Garnacho having a breakthrough season, I'm going to do 5 youth players that could also break into the first team next season. So stay tuned for that. That'll be going up about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So make sure you're up and ready for that because it's going to be a brilliant video. So anyway, everyone, thank you for watching. Please make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. But honestly, everyone, thank you for watching and I'll see you all very, very soon.